Spawning in the top, we have from Team Escape or ESCIC Box. It's the Teal Protoss GraVe.
And his opponent, the Dutch guy, it is gonna be from Easy Visualize, Fmtc or Fearomatic.
Fearomatic, the last Dutch hope here today. Let's wish him all the best. But he has shown that ZVP is actually one of his better matchups if his ZVT is anything to go by, because his ZVT compared to his versus Protoss matchup was not as good, to say the least. Whereas he shined in his ZVP.
It was funny because when you said that, he actually said himself, like the actual FMTC said in the chat, that his Protoss matchup was only 38% win ratio. So,
really?
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think we might have been spot on with this versus Korean, because I think that might have just been it. Because he actually said no. My first Protoss is pretty bad. It's like I have a win ratio of like 38%. So that's it's gonna be a little bit down to that. He did of course beat Neek earlier today, but GraVe also beat Neek today. So this is going to be a very exciting, close matchup, I would say, because both players beat the same player and lost to the same player.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. And even if you check the bracket, actually, Revenge and Neek, come to think of it, Neek has not received the worst seed in this group. It was GraVe that received seed number 4. So, you know, good for GraVe, I guess. Nice job blocking that hatchery, by the way. I mean, the pool is done, links are on the way, so it will have to be most likely cancelled, especially considering the fact this was a forge opening, so you need money for cannons if you don't want the links just running towards your main mineral line and just being obnoxious for the next like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yep, definitely. As I just had a huge, like a brain fart during the end of the day, where the pylon was killed or cancelled and the hatchery was built over it, and I was looking at the hatchery like, that looks really strange, but that was the remaining of the pylon still inside of the building. We do have the Zergling chasing the probe, but another probe is already on the map, so I feel like he wants to do something here. He wants to play some proxy pylons or anything of that sort.
I don't know, maybe I think that Probe just wants to check for a third base somehow, because, you know, that's a really good indication for Protoss players what they can get away with and what's going on. If he doesn't see a third base, he knows he has to play more cautiously, because the Zerg is likely teching up or attempting some kind of all-in or a very heavy pressure. He does see the third base, however, so he's going to be quite at ease with what is happening so far in this game.
Yeah, it looks like GraVe actually, you were spot on with that, because GraVe is sending the probe back. Sometimes you just want to have a probe on the map, though, as the Protoss player, because it gives a little bit of control later on, where you can play some pylons and stuff like that, but he doesn't need that. Looks like we have fully committed to the economy, drones and queens on the way. No gas as of yet from FMTC and from GraVe. What would you like to see?
Well, you know, this is Yonsu, so Immortal Sentry all-ins are very, very, very efficient on this map. Hard to stop as well, because of a number of things. One is all the chokes and ramps around here, and the second one are the rocks in between the natural and the third base of the Zerg player. Quite tough to defend that third base. So this is probably the best course of action for GraVe to go about this game. I'm a little bit surprised I'm not seeing... Okay, there we go. There's the extractor at the natural. I was a little bit afraid about the gas timing here for FMTC, because... Yeah, and I think he forgot, or he misclicked, because he was supposed to build 2 or 3 gases, not only 1. So he's going to be pretty low on gas for quite some time, I feel like.
Yep, he should be. One of the things I like from Fmtc though is that he's placing the Rose Warren without seeing too much, just defensively, and he's also started his creep threat. He is losing 1 or 2 Zerglings at the front though, that's not the best compliment to that. But he does have 2 Queens, they should start focus firing the Mothership Core, they do that, but it's gonna be a little bit hard for him to defend here. Oh, he lost all of his Zerglings early on, so these guys could do a little bit of damage here, which is annoying.
Yeah, it definitely is. One of the Queens at least will go down. And this Mothership Core is gonna get chased away. Second Queen, will it die? No, the Zerglings barely... Oh, Queen! Queen!
Like
no,
Queen! Push it back! No, not that way!
Oh my goodness, that was so close. And now the Zerglings hatch, but look at this. Third base from GraVe, already walled in, just behind this very, very light pressure. He did lose the Mothership Core. Oh, no, actually he didn't. So, yeah, this is very well done by GraVe. Had he lost that Mothership Core, this would have been a very bad situation. But right now, he can feel very, very, very safe. 6 gateways that are just about to finish. He's going to be chrono boosting nothing but probes, and he'll have just enough units to defend any potential attack. Now, Fmtc, I would like for him to take a 4th base and just tech like crazy.
Yeah, I would like to see that. He is making drone after drone after drone, complemented by some more drones. But he is also starting to add more Vespene geysers, extractors. So that is going to mean that he wants to do something with that. But he is also adding a 4th base. I would like to see better creep spread from him though, because that's going to be very important during this game, especially on this map. He is already making a lair, but I can't really say what he's going for just yet. Might be Mutas again though.
Might be. I'm not entirely sure about that. I mean...
Could be roaches because he's adding a lot of them, but why would he have added all of the gas? That means he probably wants to go for a transition later on, like Hydras or Foremost, right?
Yeah, or just go straight into Vipers. I mean, depending on what the Protoss does. Zerg is a very reactive race somehow. I mean, yeah, you can take the initiative, you can be the aggressor, but most of the time you just gotta scout your opponent, your Protoss opponent out, see what they're doing, and then decide how you respond to that. 4th base under fire momentarily by these Protoss units. No reinforcement pylons nearby, so this is just to force a reaction out of the Zerg, force some units, and immediate recall is followed by that. Behind all of this, though, GraVe has been teching. He's getting the Blink. He's getting +2 attack for his units, and a Dark Shrine as well. So I think he's preparing for very heavy harassment tactics during the mid game here.
Yeah, all right. It does look like we are going to see a Hydra then, and we are going to see a Dark Shrine from GraVe, which doesn't surprise me because GraVe really likes Dark Shrines. But the Hydras are gonna be very annoying for GraVe to deal with right now because he doesn't really have an adequate response because he's going Dark Templars. He opted not to go for Storm or Colossi, so how is he gonna deal with a large amount of Hydra?
Here's the thing, he's got 11 gateways and his upgrades are just about finished. He can start attacking right now and he will still have enough production with 3 saturated bases to just outnumber the Hydralisks with the Stalkers. That's only gonna last for a while though, until Fmtc gets a couple more production rounds of Hydralisks going for him. But right now, if he moves out, which he is doing, he should be able to take an even engagement, if not even a favorable one, against the Zerg player.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is going to go in the upgrades and the sheer amount of outnumbering, but it's not going to be cost efficient, and he has to do a lot of damage. He has to start taking down drones or hatcheries, because else it's not going to go in his favor. He can't trade armies with the army composition he's going for, and with 11 Hydras on the way, he has to be fast about it, Bell, because he doesn't have any AoE.
Oh, DT at the third, DT at the third. And more DTs are coming to the natural and the main base, completely catching off guard the Fmtc, the Orange Zerg player. He does not have static detection there, and no Overseer, so the Queens cannot deal with that. The DTs are just running rampant, killing all of the drones there. This is actually pretty horrible.
Yep, but on the good side of things for him, the Stalker aggression just gets nullified. The Hydras do so much damage, even with the force field. He traded very well there. He did take care of the DT, I feel like. Yep, he just killed it. But he traded well with the army, so that's a win. He did lose some Hydras later on, but that's not a big deal, I feel. He's gonna add a lot of Zerglings and Hydras. There still needs to be a Templar Archive that's being constructed right now. Because he needs to start defending against these Hydras.
Dude, this DT in the main base of the Zerg player,
oh my God,
9 kills, still alive.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
now he's getting detected, but I mean seriously.
Oh my. The DTs actually did the majority of the damage there, right?
Yep, they did.
Yep.
If you take a look at the drones lost, 26 of those have been killed off. The Zerg player is at 51 drones compared to 71 probes. That's a huge difference. We see a transition into Robotech from the Protoss player, and the Zerg player does the only reasonable thing that any Zerg player, being so hugely behind when behind swarm hosts. So he's getting enduring locust upgrades, +1 missile attacks, which by the way should have already been finished. If you're going Roach Hydra, there is no reason not to have that upgrade already in the game. So, but, you know, things are not going to go well for our Zerg player because Robotech starting up, Storm almost finished, +3, 2/3 done. GraVe is looking for another timing. He's got a huge bank. He might try to take a 4th right now. I wouldn't fault him for that. Oh, he's actually going to do that. And once that Storm finishes, I don't know. I'd say it's a matter of time. If the Zerg has enough time to get enough Swarm hosts, cool. You can prolong the game. If not, Protoss gonna own him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Fmtc was always going to be on the clock, and I feel like if he didn't lose the drones, he would have actually had a good timing to start putting some pressure on his Protoss opponent, but he didn't have the economy to do that. And this is going to be very annoying. There are some Zerglings running through, but I don't think they're going to get more than a few pylons or maybe 1 or 2 probes. But yeah, the Swarm hosts are going to be key for him to holding this. But there are going to be 9 more Swarm hosts, 2 already on the field, so I feel like he should have enough. But he's losing some units left and right, and there are already going to be Colossus on the way. So if you get that Colossus count up, the Swarm hosts aren't going to be that good.
Yeah, and they're going to be produced out of 2 robo facilities at the same time. Oh, he has to be careful about those High Templars. He lost 1 for free there. He's got he had 5 of them, and now there are only 4. The creep is getting cleared out, however. There are not that many swarm hosts. 10 swarm hosts, that's still a manageable number that you can deal with. And look at this, GraVe immediately going into multitask mode, trying to abuse his opponent's maybe lack of attention, or maybe the way some people, you know, they can't handle multiple locations at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually doing a lot of damage with these Stalkers. He did lose some Zealots on the other side, but they're disposable units, so that's not the worst thing ever. The Swarm hosts are trying to defend, but he actually has to run the Locust around the perimeter, which is really annoying. But there are going to be some Hydras to complement this, so he wants to get out there. He does get out there. He did clean out a lot of the creep spread, so I feel like that wasn't anything lost for GraVe. And he is on 4 bases, so he's doing an excellent job on keeping those.
45 drones killed so
Yeah,
far. I
so
mean,
much.
that is ridiculous.
But he's still holding on, though. I mean, he needs Vipers soon, though, because there are going to be Colossus, and 2 at a time.
Now it's Fmtc that's going on the multi-pronged attacks, harassing the 3rd base of GraVe, and now moving on to the 4th base. He likely would have taken that down if not for that recall.
Yeah,
and what's the Colossus count right now?
I think he only has 2, but he was making them 2 at a time. He's only making 1 right now, but he only needs like 5 Colossus to really deal with this. So if he starts queuing them up, he should have the adequate amount of Colossus in about a minute. So that's pretty fast, and I don't feel like Fmtc can really do that much about it. He is losing Templars though. GraVe actually lost 2 Templars at the front. That's really bad. Like, you shouldn't lose those with Locust.
That was actually very, very bad. And look at this, triple Stargates coming out of GraVe, and Aspire just about to finish from FMTC. 4 Stargates actually. I wonder, is this because GraVe expects a Muta switch off of this? You know, that's a pretty common way of how to close out the game, or maybe even switching into Broodlords when you go Swarm hosts. So is he expecting this? I think he is.
Yeah, you see it so often, and you know, like when you die to something on ladder, often you don't want to do it again. There was a little bit of an attack from GraVe. It did manage to kill Queen, but didn't get any drones this time around, which I'm sure FMTC is happy about. But there was also an attack in the main base, and that could start doing some damage as well.
Oh, that's a huge warbit of Zealots. The Hydras are there to clean this up, however. The Swarmos from the low ground as well. I have to say FMTC is doing a beautiful job of directing his forces and maneuvering them around the terrain in such a way that maximizes their potential. or being very close to that.
He's falling apart to these attacks. Look at the supply right now, Bell. It's maxed out against 140 supply. The Locusts are gonna reach a point where they're not going to be able to defend, and the Hydras have all been taken out. And the Hive is actually under threat here by the warp-in of Zealots, and Hydras don't trade that good against Zealots, especially when they have +3 attack.
Yeah, I mean, Zealots, when they do make contact, they rip Hydralisks to shreds, but Hydralisks in numbers, they still have a pretty high number of DPS, and it's gonna be Void Ray production from GraVe, so... Versus Mutalisks, I mean, 20 or 30 or so Mutas? I don't know, man. I mean, the upgrades are lacking for the Zerg Air. We have 18 Stalkers on the field. This might work or it might not. I am leaning more towards it might not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was on low supply, of course. He had the resources. He decided to use them all on Mutalisks, which can be good, but I don't feel like he's done enough damage to the Protoss to really assert that. I mean, he's taken a lot of damage himself. These Mutas are gonna shut down one base for sure. This Nexus, if he wants to kill it, he can kill it. But there's gonna be the Stalkers, and after that there's even gonna mother ship, and there's gonna be 3 or 4 Phoenixes being produced at a time. So these Mutas, they're on a really big clock, and they're gonna be the Locusts are gonna help out. That's good. Actually, the Locusts right now are doing a lot of damage with the Hydras right there, and the Roaches. They're killing a lot of these units for almost free. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's action all over the place. We have third under attack by the Zerg, as well as the ramp between the natural Mutas ravaging the main base, depowering most of the Stargates actually. So, oh wait, there are more somewhere else, because I'm still seeing 3 to 4 Phoenixes in production. So Fmtc must have built them somewhere, and he's trying to clean all of this up, and actually is being successful, but he lost quite a sizable chunk of his economy.
Just when we start to doubt Fmtc, he makes sure that he's playing well right now. He's actually made that work. He attacked from 4 different sides or something crazy, and the Locust did so much because GraVe was moving his army from the one base to the other base and got caught between the Locusts, some Hydras and some Roaches, and he lost the Colossus and a lot of Stalkers, and those Stalkers were necessary to kill the Mutalisks, and they weren't there anymore. And now the Locusts are still harassing the 4th base from the Protoss, so he's actually pulled himself back into this game, I feel.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. He's back to 62 drone count. Oh my goodness. This was... Oh, FMTC was not looking...
Look at that fell!
Oh my goodness, all the 5 Colossi will go down. Without these Colossi, GraVe will have no chance of engaging the Locusts and the Swarm Hosts. And right now, I mean, what is his Phoenix count? It's down to 2. He can't engage the air army. FMTC still has to play this very patiently. He has to keep circling the map, keep taking out the buildings. He can't take out the army head on, but he can start taking out the buildings.
Yeah, but he's actually getting the Void Rays for free now as well. GraVe is falling completely apart. He has to start attacking, defending from every side, what he's been doing to FMTC the entire game, but he's not doing it as well as FMTC was. He's taking his whole army, moving it there, moving it there. He's taking so much damage. Now he's just going for it, but this army is not going to win.
I don't know. There are still storms available. There are 2 Colossi, a lot of Stalkers. Corruptor's completely useless versus the ground army. Not that many air units for the Protoss. Loses 1 Colossus though, and that forces the GG. Well...